T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Hello, everybody, and I'm going to say Happy New Year. No, it's not January 1st. It's the kickoff to the CFL season tonight. It's the earliest start to a kickoff in the history of the Canadian Football League. And we got a special guest today. John Murphy joining us. I'm not sure if Murphy's been on this show. Murphy, you're going to have to clarify. He's going to join us in seconds. And coming up in hour two, our good friend Lou Gamelin's going to be joining us from Michigan's 12-ounce Sports Network to talk Stanley Cup Final and some NFL, MLB, and a little CFL. Lou's a big CFL fan, too. But Murph is joining us from Houston, Texas. Murph is a four-time Grey Cup champion. Get ready to talk CFL for an hour. How you doing, Murph?
Doing awesome, Roddy.
Good to hear from you. Have we had you on this fine show yet, Murph, or is this the maiden voyage?
Sir. No, we have before. We're just missing DuPont.
No, we're not. Not missing them at all. Okay, Murph, look, this opening segment is fast. It's 7 minutes long, and the next one we'll get in way more football. The big story is, you spent a lot of time in Canada, very long time. How many years in Canada living?
Since 2005, basically, on and off.
Yeah, so 20 years, basically. The big story is still the Stanley Cup playoffs. Game 2 is tonight. We'll go far deeper into it next hour when we're on the air across Nevada. But are you following it all? Just the Stanley Cup Final. Vegas up 1-0 going into Carolina. Did you pick some hockey up in those 20 years in Canada?
Absolutely. And growing up, the number one team that I followed was the Islanders of all sports teams because I live 15 minutes from their front door. So know what good hockey looks like, and it's an amazing experience. I've been, blessed to be able to see Johnny Gaudreau score his first goal in Calgary. Been able to watch. We were right across the street. You were calling the games when the Pats were doing great while I was there, and then having the Leafs right in front of me for the better part of the last 5 years. You were able to see a lot of great players, and what the attachment is to the individuals, because you can go out to the local hockey games. Like I said, go to the Pats. The unfortunate thing that we got to all experience together, and the tragedy in Saskatchewan years ago, and you see what hockey means to those communities. But it's also, to me, while the CFL is such an ingrained part of the Canadian community, is the attachment to the players and the closeness to the environment.
Right. Well, we're enjoying it. I mean, they're all watching hockey up here. I was talking to a gal this morning in Florida. She's like, are you following the NBA finals? I'm like, I had it on my TV for like 2 minutes last night. Well, I'm in Canada. Nobody cares about the NBA unless the Raptors are doing something. But anyways, I'll talk more about this. Murph is here to talk football today. I'm not here to talk hockey with Murph. Four-time Grey Cup champion. And Murph, I'm going to tell you right now, we are on a timer when they go to commercials. So I'm going to wave when they're going to cut us off, okay? We can't. It's not up to me. They're going to cut us off. It's hard outs, as they say in the broadcast business. So with the CFL kicking off tonight, what emotions, what are you thinking, what are you feeling here with Montreal and Hamilton in Game 1?
Well, I think the first part is we're going to get to see what the first rules changes, right? 35-second play clock until the final 3 minutes. Also, the kicking and punting, right? No points unless, you take it out and there's a play happening. So how do the teams start adjusting to that? Does this help offenses by having a little more time on the play clock, or does it help defenses because you're getting a little bit more of a breather on the longer drives? I think it's a very interesting season, the way that it sets up. Everybody has their quarterback, right? Everybody's healthy. You got some good dynamics where teams that struggled last year, like Toronto and Ottawa, have two quarterbacks, right? So now your season is not just, hung up on one player. And out west, you've seen Damon Allen and Henry Burris, right? 40-plus years old, win Grey Cups. Trevor Harris can really set his career apart if he's able to do something, kind of once in a lifetime and defend the championship. And then literally every West team, if their quarterback plays at an MVP level, they have a chance to be a home playoff team. And if, God forbid, somebody loses a quarterback out West, it could be a really long season.
Wow. Nice answer. Well, that's right out of the chute. A very nice little succinct what to watch for in this week 1. And listen, I got all the game notes written down here. Remember, we got a lot to get to. And one thing just reminded me having you on here is these are my easiest shows. I just put the ball in Murph's hands, and he takes it to the end zone. But you know what I was thinking about? You talk about those Pats games back in the day. I don't know if you were at the game. They showed Chris Jones up on the big screen at the Pats game. And he, you know what I'm going to say? They booed him. Well, I can't. Were they booing him, or was there something that went on in the game? I think they were booing Jones.
And when you start to have a little time away from when things happen,
yeah,
basically we took away everybody's favorite players, right? Like, unfortunately,
yes.
we came in at the back end of, like we were doing the cleanup after the parade, right? There was no celebrating what we were doing there, right? When you're saying that guys that literally deservedly had Hall of Fame careers, and you're on the back end of it. You had a lot of fans who their first comment at anything we were ever at was, "What am I supposed to do with this jersey?" That you created. And one of the things we started saying, which has become very factual, is in Saskatchewan, it is a 1 of 1 in the scenario of the jersey. The name on the front of the jersey is always going to be what matters. And you've seen it. They've done it. They've done a great job of sustainability, with the new facility and now having a winning program there as well. And you see what it means to those players, and you see what it means to the fans to get behind it. So the expectation is that when you do stuff like that, the booing was going to come, but on those, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights when it started to get rolling and it became very competitive against those great Calgary teams of that era, there were people that were no doubtedly supporting, Chris and I, because we were taking 5 a.m. walks and ending up, at Western Pizza to have breakfast. And those same people that were booing were cheering when you're winning.
Of course. Well, you say it's all coming back to me now. So everybody, Murph's with us for hour 1. 902-518-3033 is the text line. You want to reach us here for Western Dodge. We're going to be previewing the CFL season, but as you see, telling some stories to experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. I'm trying to match the timeline up, and Murph just helped me. It was 2016-17 hockey season. The Pats were in the league final against the Seattle Thunderbirds, and Murph was there, and they showed Chris Jones on the scoreboard, and the crowd was, "Boo!" I'm like, they just booed the coach and GM of the Riders? That's never happened in this town. But Murph just explained why. They got rid of all the favorites. It didn't go over real well in the Wheat Province. So, yeah, we'll tell some stories about Murph. Murph and I were together 2016, 17, 18. I matched up the years, Murph. So, yeah, a lot of time spent together.
Trust me, with the work hours that Chris Jones put us in, we were often booing him in the behind the scenes, too.
I get it. All right, John Murphy joining us from Houston, Texas. CFL Kickoff is tonight. We're going to go through all the games, the season, West Division predictions. If you're willing, Murph, we'll be right back on the RP Show.
Across America, Country Thunder music festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
Welcome back. It's a CFL preview. We're open for business. Wayne's watching in Victoria, BC. He says, good morning, Rod and squad. I'm so excited for the CFL season. Kirk in Toronto wrote in yesterday. He goes, Rod, why are you not on Game Plus? I said, ask Game Plus. So Kirk wrote in and says, yes, I did. I've been a regular viewer and part of the RP squad ever since. You're like a drug in a good way, and I get my fix 2 hours a day. Thanks. Glad to have you here, Kirk. And our producer, Corey Murph, just said, hey, has this guy done media before, this John Murphy? I said a little. How would you answer that, Murph?
Yeah, I told him available, right? You learn from having these jobs and being in these situations. You get a lot of opportunity and experience. And I think it's really good because, again, taking off of what we just mentioned about, hey, we're going to see the new play clock and some new rules. I'm excited to see how the league goes in terms of covering, the CFL moving forward, right? Having something that's streamed, having something that might look different than the average broadcast moving forward, I think could really help indoctrinate new fans to learn the rules and how everything goes in our league, but also having experienced people that can explain the game and why when certain things happen. At times, it is literally a sports tragedy. In the first month of any season, if you lose your primary player, it's not like any other league in sports. That money and that stuff counts on your cap, and you're going to be struggling and fighting it back the rest of the season. And I think our fans really like that behind the scenes stuff. They like digging behind and, hearing stuff that would kind of look like what the NFL has given you, the behind the scenes stuff with the draft and cutting players and signing players and making trades. I think the more we lean into that as a league in the CFL, it's just going to take the product and go to the moon.
I'll get to as many comments as I can. People writing in on the stream, and also the text line's open, 902-518-3033 for Western Dodge. It's Montreal at Hamilton tonight, Winnipeg at Calgary Friday, Saturday Edmonton and Ottawa. I don't know where to start. Do you have a Grey Cup pick, Murph, or would you even be willing to do that? Because we literally haven't even kicked off the season yet.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is in the East, I currently believe that when you watch the current preseason and look at all the moves and changes, is that excitingly, anybody could finish in first or last in the East. Now, so that makes you have some moving parts because Montreal, Hamilton play week 1. And then Montreal, is it a benefit to play week 2 after playing against a healthy Toronto team? Or is it allowing Toronto and a new coaching staff get a chance to see what Montreal does tonight? So now you're playing Hamilton, Toronto, back-to-back. On paper, that could look at 2-0. That could look like, at worst, a 1-1. But if Montreal were to stub their toe and start off slowly, that's 2 4-point games in the standing early against Eastern rivals. So when you look at it, a lot of times in the CFL, your most improvement happens kind of week 2 to 3. And then again, the second month of the season. And then the younger teams, or the teams that have brought up a lot of younger Americans that don't know the game, you can have that August to early September swing where everybody gets in the groove. And you saw last year, I thought that was something that really happened with Saskatchewan on the defensive side of the football and the offensive line. When they started gelling mid to late season, you could start seeing the consistency and really the confidence level of the riders just soar in that 3/4 of the way, part of the season, to where them becoming what they later on became was the signs of it were there all summer and early fall last year.
Could you not say in the West, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 could be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Like, I picked Winnipeg. I picked them last. I just put it on Facebook this morning, and the next thing I see is a meme from TSN. Luke Wilson's got the Bombers finishing first. Neither would surprise me. Like, what do you see in the West?
No. Yeah, because again, it's the quarterback play, and when you say that, it's not just each quarterback's ability; it's availability. Right, because as soon as is Calgary the 5-1 team that they started out with, or the inconsistent team that you saw, the rest of the way, and when Vernon was not at full strength? If Zach isn't there, they don't have a Strevler, they don't have that guy. It would fall on the arms and legs of a very young rookie Canadian quarterback, which could be exciting. But we've also seen the last few years in Edmonton that playing a rookie quarterback was not exciting. For the results of that franchise. Edmonton has gone back to the defensive well again in terms of making some changes, adding some really quality free agents. But when you add free agents in bulk, how do they interact? How are they with the other components of their team? And will you see that be something that it takes time? Because Edmonton is not in a position to start slow again, because it's so hard to dig your way out of that early. And then the last one is, I think we're at the point in time where BC and Nathan Rourke would agree, one of these seasons has to be a Nathan Rourke MVP, start to finish, carries them to a title, and is the best player in the league, and that's just the end of the story. If that happens this year, great. But if it doesn't, they are a very fundamentally heavy roster in terms of, him, Hatcher, Betts, Butler, you've seen they have a high-end talent, but that also comes with having to have some rookies and first year and younger players produce, because the salary cap then becomes debilitating if some of your best players don't play their best or have any kind of struggle.
Vancouver Eric writes in and says, this guy's good. Keep it down. We don't want it to go to Murph's head. Yes, Murph kind of knows what he's talking about.
It's probably too late,
if he's,
Rod.
if he's
we're
too late, it's already gone to his
that.
head. Already gone to his head. But if Murph's willing, I'd love to have him on throughout the season regularly, like our regular guys. It would be absolutely fantastic. You brought up Trevor Harris. I was reading some news articles this morning. I guess he said that his best football's ahead of him. I was like, have you looked at your your driver's license, Trevor? You're 40. But who am I to say? Maybe it is, Marv.
Well, and when you look at it, Trevor, and not speaking for him, but having had the privilege of having a lot of conversation and interaction with him, we've always been on opposite sides of the field and pretty much throughout his entire career. But having met him at a very young age, straight out of college, Trevor sat a lot in Toronto. And then he goes to Ottawa, and it looks like Henry's almost done. And then, no, Henry's not done. And then, hey, it even looks like Trevor was going to get to have his moment in a Grey Cup when Henry tweaks his knee, in pregame. Nope. Henry's going to go out on a blaze of glory with an MVP performance. So when you have had stuff like that happen, I could see why Trevor would want to have that imagination to say, hey, what if I could play another 2, 3, 4 years, in my 38 to 44, 42-year-old range and mimic, like I said, Damon Allen won a Grey Cup, I think, after 40. I think Hank might have been 40, when he did that. Ricky Ray played well when he came back from his injury and led Toronto to a Grey Cup. Unfortunately, we got to witness that one ourselves, in the Eastern Final back in the day. But it's not surprising with the run game, the defense, and the way that Corey managed playing Trevor last year, that he stays healthy. I could see him playing 2 or 3 years more, because it's never been athletic ability and running around and off-platform plays. It's been his smarts, quick release, staying out of pressure situations, and not causing a lot of turnovers. Yeah, a veteran quarterback could do that.
Yeah, it's not 1979. He's not smoking darts like Tom Wilkinson up in Edmonton, right? He looks at the top of his game. So who are we to say that the best football is not ahead of? Ken in Mississauga, because the viewers love being part of the show. Ken in Mississauga writes that he says, what does John Murphy think about Jake Mayer starting in Ottawa? He'll get the ball Saturday night against Edmonton.
So now here, that is why is my primary reason of saying anybody could finish first or last. Jake Mayer, if he plays well early, I will not be shocked if Jake is challenging Chad, Kelly, and there's probably a few others to be, basically best player that was not best player last year. He could be a comeback type player of the year, because you've seen it happen in that Calgary, Toronto type system that Dave and Huff, and Ryan are running. That McLeod has had, spectacular seasons. When you look at the kind of numbers that Nick Arbuckle put up, the last 20 or so games that he's played in that system, it would not be surprising to see Jake Mayer play better football in that environment and with that confidence. And now what it does for Ottawa is Ottawa now has the biggest trade piece in the league, that if someone needs or loses a quarterback, suddenly Drew Brown is right there for the taking, because I think their comfort level there. Coach Costanza's there. Drew Tate is there. Ryan Dinwiddie is there. Jake Mayer. And Jake Mayer is somebody we spent a lot of time when he was becoming a free agent the first time to potentially bring him to Toronto when he was an early free agent, and he ended up getting a great deal and staying in Calgary. I won't be shocked if Jake Mayer doesn't play good football. And if they do, that's been some of Ottawa's problem, right? Ottawa has not just gotten blown out in these seasons where they've struggled. They've had a lot of games that were heartbreakers down the stretch of the game. And possibly, with the new staff and a little bit of confidence, and Jake Mayer, playing within himself in a confident way, Ottawa could be a surprise team to start off with a couple of W's early in the first month.
I'll sprinkle in some viewer comments plus their questions as we go. Utah Darren writes in. He's in Salt Lake City. He says, I'm in for the CFL season. I'm looking forward to learning the game, teams, and players. Also, Bryson Barnes, a Utahn on the Red Blacks, makes it fun. He says, I won't refer to him as a pig farmer anymore. It seemed out of line. That's not Bryson Barnes' fault, Darren. Just so you know, there was a pig farmer from Vancouver that was a serial killer. So the second you said this kid was a pig farmer, I got triggered, but that's not Bryson Barnes' fault. So you can refer to him as the pig farmer if you want. That's not anybody's fault but Mr. Picton out there in Vancouver, who I believe is dead now. Thank God. You mentioned the Ottawa, the trade piece, the depth at quarterback. Is Dinwiddie? Well, he obviously is behind that. He's the coach and the general manager. How big of a flip do you think they'll make? They will make a flip under dinner. We all know that. How much of a flip is he going to make? That team going to make?
Well, I think, here's what you have. You have a Toronto team that's got a road trip like no one's ever seen. You have an Ottawa team that, again, if you start off and you win a game, sometimes that all it takes after having losing seasons is if you win a game early, you do something that's different. And different is playing Jake Mayer week 1 over Drew Brown. And even if it was health concern and that Drew wasn't going to be 100% day 1 of training camp, and you just fundamentally make that decision and ride with it, don't forget, recent memory. It was McLeod against Arbuckle all the way until Labor Day. McLeod won that Labor Day game against Hamilton year 1 in Toronto, and off McLeod and the Argos went, in the next 2 years there, is because if you make that right call or decision and it works, now you could be off and running and have a little bit better season, right? If we were talking about Ottawa in the summer or fall, competing to have 8, 9, 10 wins, well, people right now would be making a heck of a lot of money on FanDuel or other by betting that way, right? But if you play Meyer and it struggles early and then you got to flip back and forth between him and Brown, I think then you will see the team be better by the fall. And I think the end result of the entire season will be much more competitive and have Ottawa with a chance to, like I said, be a team that come the summertime, we could be like, wow, 4 or 5 wins already. They could be on their way to competing for a playoff spot. I would not have been shocked. We never got to play it because of COVID. I really believe that if we had played that COVID season with the roster we had developed in Toronto, that's the kind of season we would have had, in the COVID year with the Argos, that it would have looked better. It would have been very competitive. And it would have been a very interesting season to see, like, hey, who would have played between the quarterbacks we had and such. And I think that's kind of Ryan's playing it safe. Play it down the middle with a quarterback that will play the game the way that you want it to be played. And if not, you have Drew Brown, which is very functional and a guy that can win. So you're developing both at the same time. And I think you're also trying to give your team the best chance to win early.
We'll take a timeout. Just one more segment, if you can believe, is all we have left with Murph. So get your questions and comments in 902-518-3033. We'll be right back here on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Dean, Brody, and the Reclaws teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, I'm going to work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else. I can't help myself.
2 of Canada's biggest country acts. 1 stage, 1 unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour. Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
It is our CFL preview show presented by Suds Car Wash, Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early and stay late at the place where friends meet. Only one segment left with Murph. We got a rash of questions here from the viewers, and I don't like to let the viewers down, so I'll only ask my last one. This week, TSN came out with its yearly top 50 players. John Murphy, who four-time Grey Cup champion, who joins us from Houston. Nathan Rourke was named the number one player in the CFL by the TSN panel. Do you agree with that?
I think that's fair off of last season. And also, if you're projecting, that's a pretty good projection. Because like I said, any time between now and the next 4 to 5 seasons, if you said he was predominantly going to be ranked top 3 or even number 1 most of that time, that's pretty much a safe bet, I would say there. And so I think that's a fair evaluation going into the season. I will say, no, not trying to throw somebody out there that I have a close relationship. I will not be surprised if Bo Levi has one last stand in him this season. They have a really good offense. They've made some adjustments on the offensive line. He's got an excellent play caller for him. And I think it'll be very interesting to see if they can finally put that all together and have a full season worth of Bo Levi. Could be 30 or 35 touchdowns if he's able to stay healthy and put it together, because they have a heck of an offense.
There are a lot of Argos fans that watch this show, and Ticats too for that matter, but Richard Braley is one of them. He writes in from the Southern Ontario area. He says, how good are the Argos going to be this year?
If you said Chad's going to be healthy, they're going to win some games early on the road that people will be surprised at, because he is just naturally that talented. And the number one thing that has been completely overlooked for a lot of reasons is Chad outworks almost anybody in that building, right? There's only 2 guys. Him and Isaac D'Arcangelo would beat me and Ryan into the office on certain days, because that's just how they're built. So I think the defense, it's going to be different names. And a couple of similar names that you've heard before, Amos and Pickett. But Pickett and Judge have a relationship from their UCLA days. I think that defense could start turning the corner and play very well together as a unit, some of it parts better than maybe just the individuals. So I would not be surprised if there's not a time in this season where they could get on a good little run, because if they can gain some confidence early, thanks to having Chad back in the game, they're going to then have a chance to slingshot around there post-September with a lot of home games, no travel. And if they can adapt that kind of road warrior mentality the first half of the year, it could get surprising. But you are in a very difficult scenario to say, with Dinwiddie, they're going to be competitive. Montreal, when Davis Alexander's healthy, they're a top 3 team in the league. And Hamilton, like I said, offensively, could give their defense a chance to pin back and pass rush and play aggressively with Brent Munson. They could be a team to be reckoned with. But again, all of those parts have moving parts to say. We've seen inconsistencies out of Hamilton on both sides of the football at times and bad penalties. We've seen Montreal look like a last-place team without Davis Alexander, and now there's no Sankey, no Oakman, change in some of their Canadian talent in terms of ratio, so they're going to count on some younger players there. I'm excited to see Chad play, because I think it's good for our league. All those quarterbacks going into week 1, if we're playing week 21 with all these same quarterbacks, we're going to have a heck of a season.
34 minutes, we've covered it all and kind of brushed on every single team. So I just want to have some fun here. Murph's going to come back. We were together 2016, 17, 18 with the Rough Riders. Tell me a story, Murph. You've worked for many teams in football, but none were like here, right? Give me a story where you went, whoa, this place is different.
I think it's easy. If people remember, we had the fortune and in the end of the story, misfortune of playing the last game in the old stadium and the first game in the new stadium. And the old stadium, boy, that game went right down to the last 3 minutes and was a loss. And the first game of the new stadium, we were having a heck of a great time early until it got late early, and we gave a big lead away. And so you know what happens when you do that in Saskatchewan. And we were then going to face what was at that time an extremely hot Hamilton Tiger Cat team that had at the end of that season before really picked up the pace with Mazzoli and the offense they were running, and they were on all cylinders. And they were coming in with an offense that I think was averaging 500 yards. We're coming off of blowing a 3-score lead that we had, on Winnipeg, and it was not looking great. Well, I had silly gone to the mall and dropped my suit off to get tailored. And so that afternoon, about midway through that week leading into the Hamilton home game, I had to, go pick it up. And I walked upstairs to go get my suit and then went and grabbed a drink. And I should not have stopped to get a drink because a fan got up from their table, came over and said, "You guys suck and you have time to be at the mall?" and so we had to get a laugh. You had to get a laugh out of it and say, like, "Hey, sir, it was a black suit." So I told him, I said, "Well, I got to pick this up so that when you bury me here in the next few weeks, I'll have my suit ready for it." He smiled. We had a good conversation about it. And the funniest part about it is we beat Hamilton, and really beat them pretty good that following week. We ended up winning, I think, 6 of the next 7 in that time frame, only with a really close loss to the defending Calgary Grey Cup team, at home. And sure enough, we're at home for Labor Day, and I go to get gas on the way to the stadium. And who's there getting gas? The same guy that I had seen in the mall is sitting there getting gas, and he goes, "Hey, come inside with me." And I said, I was like, "Oh, okay." And he paid for my gas. And that tells you everything you need to know about Regina, Saskatchewan, and what that team and that element means to them. It is that important, to them, right? They wear that jersey, like it's part of their uniform for everyday life. Randomly you see it in Mexico, Florida, New York, Detroit, Dallas. Those are just certain cities that I've seen rider jerseys in my life. And that's no other CFL team. Do you see random CFL jerseys just randomly at events or people wearing them, when they're in places? I sent you a picture one time. I took my girls to Disney while I was working in Saskatchewan. And there's a guy right next to the Disney castle, in a Rough Rider jersey. I mean, that's not something that happens all the time. But I also said, like, you could not have had better interactions. And I lived right downtown. I parked right downtown. You could have not had better interactions. If this is the job you wanted to have, the best challenge of Saskatchewan was that you were held to that level of accountability. To me, working for the Riders in that era of time, that's as much responsibility and as close to working in the NFL as you're going to get, because it is treated with that kind of passion, good and bad. Because like I said, could you ever imagine the same person that was kind of telling you, you were killing them in one sentence, and then when you were 7-2, they were buying your gas at the gas station? That's not normal behavior, but it is very normal behavior for people in Regina.
As you found out, they love you, win or tie. Right?
Sometimes.
Yeah, some not
well,
even that.
The other funny part would be that the other funny part is the actual friends that you have, you were also not allowed at the barbecue if you lost on Labor Day.
Of course. Which you didn't do that, though, did you? I guess you must have.
No, we won on Labor Day.
That's what I thought. Yeah, you don't lose on Labor Day. That's just not something that happens. That's like the sun coming up. You win on Labor Day. Murph, this has been a hell of a lot of fun. I knew it would be. Never let us down. Thanks for this. Let's do it again real soon. Enjoy the games.
Absolutely. You too, Roddy.
Four-time Grey Cup champion John Murphy joining us for a CFL preview, and we've covered it all. And I'll get to the questions and comments from the viewers that we didn't get to when we come back right after this timeout, plus a sports update. It's the RP Show. Lou Gamelin joining us in Hour 2 from the 12-Ounce Sports Network in Michigan to talk Stanley Cup Final and some MLB. We'll be right back in a moment. You're watching the RP Show. Game Plus streaming, YouTube Live, podcast, and WQVZ.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show from the Golden Ticket Sports Center. Host your next business staff event at Golden Ticket Sports Center. Experience a unique and dynamic environment perfect for team building, meetings, and corporate fun. Visit GoldenTicketSportsCenter.com to book your event today. I love coming down here every single day. There's always lots of action. There's always lots of sports. There is a baseball cages and simulator over here, hockey shooting, a gym back here, tennis courts over here, golf course out there, yoga studio up there. Golden Ticket Sports Center. It's perfect for a guy like me. Just don't ask me to play because I just like to sit here and talk about it. Yeah, it was our CFL preview today, and we covered that with Murph. A lot of comments from the viewers. I'll just tell you, score a touchdown in the Caribbean. Join CFL legend Adam Bighill and Saskatchewan Roughriders linebacker Jameer Thurman on a 7-day cruise departing from Fort Lauderdale February 20th, a once-in-a-lifetime experience for CFL fans. Prices from $18.99. Cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe Travel, Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. Jason and Red Deer wrote in here and says, we've been talking a lot of CFL. Is Murph into the Stanley Cup play? We brought him on to preview the CFL. You see, all of our sponsors are huge CFL people and fans. Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the BC Lions and the RP Show. Country Thunder, huge CFL fans. Shoot, Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, huge CFL fans. The league's not getting a lot of coverage, so I love it. So let's do it. So I'm not going to talk to Murph about the Stanley Cup playoffs. And by the way, we opened the show talking about that. That's the big story. Game 2 tonight in Raleigh. When we go to air in Nevada in Hour 2, we'll be talking a lot of Stanley Cup playoffs. Hour 1, Canadian hour, and nobody's talking about the CFL. It's sad, but it is what it is. From the audience, can I handle a few of these? I think I can answer some, not all. Where do I start? Like Jeff in the Zone writes in, he says, hey, Rod, great guest. That same Jason in Red Deer says, Rackham, what a great guest, Rod. BW in Edmonton says, morning, I love the details from Murphy. Definitely a regular for Football Friday. Brent in Saskatoon says, I like him, knows his football. It's so funny because I've got Janice says it. She's like, Rod, you've had several chapters in your life, as has she. Everybody sees this as the RP show, but the past life was the Rider Guide, and we were all together every day for countless hours on end. And Chris Jones had a nickname for Murph. He called him Press Play. Press Play. And Murph just goes. And I always knew doing the radio shows when Murph would come on, it'd be the easiest shows of the month. Press play. I can put my feet up. He would never get us say anything that would get us in trouble. Always promote the team and the league and the brand. Never, ever said anything that got us in trouble. Press play. That's what Chris Jones, press play. David, number 1 in Winnipeg, writes in and says, John, if this is Zach Caleros' last season, can you see him having one last hurrah? And how do you see the Bomber? Well, that's the other thing, just so you know about Murph. He's not going to go out on the end of the limb. Guys like that, Barker was never afraid to. But Barker's of the age, he don't care. Murph probably got another 15 to 20 years of working, so he's not going to go out on the branch of making bold predictions. I don't care. That's why you all are tuned in here. But Murph's a football guy first. And I was having supper with a guy the other day at Rosie's on River Street. He says to me, how many guys do you have and gals trying to get on your show? I said, every single day, people are trying to get on this show. People like Murph. And when Barker pulled the pin, which, by the way, Barker's probably thanked me 3 times since he rejoined the Toronto Argonauts for keeping his name relevant and giving him a platform and being on the air. And when I was talking to Mike Davis about Barker leaving, Mike's like, I'll do it. And the Friday spot belongs to Mike Davis until he doesn't want it, of the Vegas Nighthawks. He was all part of that rider group too. So I'm just trying to sew it all together for you, see how it all works. Ken in Mississauga writes in, he says, it's nice that Hamilton Tiger Cats are honoring Brandon Banks tonight. Yeah, I don't think it was the best departure for Speedy B in Hamilton. As a matter of fact, I know it wasn't. But one thing I've learned this week is, as they say, time heals all wounds. I don't totally know that that's true, but people heal all wounds. But the honoring that I got yesterday from CKRM, being named to one of 9 icons of the radio station, tells you that, yeah, things change with time, and Speedy B's getting his tonight. Jason says, not sure how Nathan Rourke gets ranked number 1. His winning percentage is .639, Bose is .703, and Davis Alexander is 1,000. Rourke is way overrated. Well, again, what I've learned, because I try to learn over the years, is to try to just go with the flow as much as I can. now. I never used to. There's a narrative. Jersey Jim, that's his favorite term. And Jersey Jim's not. I hate the narrative. It's sort of like the term perception's reality. Lee Genier and I used to fight about that all the time. Perception's reality, Rod. No, it's not. Reality's reality. That's how I feel. But apparently I'm wrong. So there's this narrative in the CFL that Nathan Rourke is the best player in the CFL. It's being purported by everybody, and I don't mind. I'm just going with it. Don't bring up the stats and the facts, Jason. Nobody wants to hear that. Nathan Rourke's the poster boy, which is fine because he's a great guy and he's a great quarterback. And I have not done my own list because these lists are just lists. I almost felt like Murph was a little hesitant even. He's like, yeah, Nathan Rourke, sure. Right? I don't know that I'm not saying that Bo Levi is either. But there, again, that's the push. There's always been a push for some narrative, and I've always fought back against it, and always got me in trouble with the muckety mucks. This is what we want. Oh, okay. Don't ask questions. Scott in Vancouver writes, and he says, wouldn't be surprised at all if Nick Arbuckle has some games under his belt by Labor Day. Well, based on what? Back to that. I got Winnipeg last. And you know why? Because if you were paying attention, their record's gone me. And that happens. And they were fourth last year, on their way, in my opinion, to fifth. When you get old fast. It's been pretty gradual for Winnipeg. But who is it not going to be? There's a little bit of my heart in this with Cody Fajardo, obviously. But Vernon Adams took Calgary to double-digit wins last year. Not everybody can be good. Edmonton's going to get better. El Gurzma's clearly not ready, or he would be starting, and I see this year. I know you all want Zach Collaros and the Bombers to have this great storybook ending, but it doesn't always end that way. And when it ends fast. And that's what I see coming with Winnipeg. That's just me. Don't at me. And Murph won't answer those questions, and I don't expect him to. That he didn't want to piss off somebody in Winnipeg. I don't care. That's the part that has not changed. Scott in Toronto writes, and he says, this show is better than Jim Rome. CFL season is going to be a barn burner. Tons of parody. See, that's the one thing. The Canadian Hour, I love the CFL. I don't mind talking about it, but we're not going to talk about it in hour two. Clearly, nobody's talking about it in America. Not that many are talking about it in Canada. That's why you all are here. I'll say it again. I hope that you can see that. Vancouver Eric says, go with the flow, Jason. I know a lot of you out there are like, what, Rod, what's on the inside of your wrist? I have that coach in Florida, Lisa, and every week she gives me something new to write on my head. Here's this week. Just let it be. I think we're starting something. Her and I came up with, we've been working together for a long time, me and Lisa, and she's always something different. Let it be. Nathan Rourke's the best, okay? Let it be. Ken in Mississauga writes in and he says, congrats on the CKRM thing. They so are intertwined with the riders. So I think that's really meaningful. It is really meaningful. I talked to Lisa this morning. I said, I spent the rest of the day just enjoying that acknowledgement from my old radio station because, to be honest, every day I try to celebrate others, and this was a day for me, and I enjoyed it. It meant a lot. Thank you, Ken, for pointing that out. Jason says, FYI, Rod, I did go to Famoso last night and had the sweet barbecue chicken, and oh my God, I didn't see that sweet chili one. It was spicy Thai. I never once said sweet chili. It's spicy Thai. People here, they don't listen. But thank you, Jason. John in Edmonton says, Rod, did you happen to see the BC Lions' new Pacific Frost uniforms? I did, and can somebody from Vancouver tell me this? I have so many friends from the Lower Mainland. You don't get snow out there. At the very least, you don't get cold. So I don't understand the impetus behind the Pacific Frost uniforms. They're beautiful. They're really beautiful. Somebody said the broadcasters won't like this. Why? Yeah, they will. White with silver numbers. Boom. What more? They're great for the broadcasters. I just don't understand. I didn't think you guys got snow out there. All the hockey players that come from out there, they're like, we've never skated on a pond because it never gets cold enough to ice over. So I didn't get it, but they are beautiful. Brenton Saskatoon says, you earned it, Rod. Congratulations. Thank you. That's what it felt like. It was a lot of hard work. And when I left that job, I'm like, why did I work so hard if this is the way it's going to end? 7 years later, yesterday happens. Oh, that's why. So, yeah. Thank you. Sea Lightning says, the Beatles, let it be, let it be. She didn't come up with it. She just said it. So, yeah. I go to these meetings in Florida. People are like, what do you have written on your wrist today, Rod? Oh, it's this. Changes daily, weekly. Sometimes we need a reminder. Sweet Lou coming up next. A lot of hockey talk. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
As they say, it's time for the RP Show. Welcome, everybody. Get comfortable. Your favorite daytime sports talk show is on the air. Silver State Sports is the place to be. Also streaming on YouTube Live, Game Plus streaming podcast, WQVZ Radio. It's a Thursday in the world, and it's a great day in the world because there's a lot of sports going on. It's game day for the Golden Knights. I don't want to brag, but the Golden Knights haven't lost since I bought this hoodie from the Ultimate Fan Zone. So I'm wearing it again tonight. They've won 7 in a row. I think they've won 3 in a row since I bought this thing. Yeah, and we're going to open things up here on the warm-up. Brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the Rod Pedersen Show and the CFL's BC Lions. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel to take care of your travel plans. Our guest today is Lou Gamelin. He's coming up in the next segment from the 12-Ounce Sports Network and the Captain Lou Extravaganza out of Michigan. You really should follow him because he's got the great sports takes. He'll be joining us coming up in about 15 minutes' time, talking Stanley Cup playoffs, a little of MLB. He's all over it. He's all over it. And, of course, it is week 1. I should mention this. It's week 1 of the Canadian Football League. Vegas was a CFL town at one time. They had a team. Tonight it's the Montreal Alouettes at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. For those that observe and celebrate, we spent the entire first hour with my dear friend John Murphy, 4-time Grey Cup champion, previewing the season. You can go back and watch it all on YouTube. But we're here to talk hockey right now. Boom! Game 2, Stanley Cup Final tonight. What's interesting about this is that coming out of the furor of Game 1, and there was a lot, I feel like it's been pretty quiet going into Game 2 tonight. Everybody's just sitting there going, how's this going to turn out? You know what I mean? There was the chanting of Carter Hart from the crowd, and how did that work out for you, Carolina fans? And there was all the comments from Gary Bettman going into the series about Gary's not retiring at age 74, and they're not changing anything, which I love. Why would the NHL change anything? Rules, alignment, expand, whatever. The tide is high. Let's enjoy it. The hockey's fantastic. And I'm going to be sitting there tonight getting ready for Game 2. When I was on the radio in Amarillo, Texas the other day with Kenny DeGunst and his co-host, Slim Shotgun, I believe that was his name. They said, what does Vegas want going into this series? I said, well, I would think splitting the opening 2 games. Then all of a sudden, in the game that they say was the best game of these Stanley Cup playoffs, they win it 5-4, scoring with just under 3 minutes to go to win Game 1. So now what? You're going to throw in the towel tonight in Game 2? No, you're going to go there to win Game 2. And this would be the 8th win in the row for Vegas if they pull it off. But, here's the fun rub about all of that. Moose said it yesterday when he was on. He was like, this series is far from over. And let's not forget, Montreal went into Carolina in Game 1 and pantsed them of the Eastern Conference Final. They never won another game. Vegas Golden Knights are not the Montreal Canadiens, but you know John Tortorella and whatever influence general manager Kelly McCrimmon has on that locker room, they're not going to let them let off the gas tonight. I mean, I was wrong in my picks. My pick for Pump Jack's Cathedral and Pump Jack's Steakhouse, Pump Jack's Weyburn, I picked Carolina to win Game 1. I'm going to pick them to win Game 2 tonight. I would be shocked. For the viewers that are watching on the live stream right now, streaming live on YouTube, or those that want to text in that are watching on television, Silver State Sports right here at 902-518-3033. What exactly has flipped the switch for the Vegas Golden Knights? I mean, something. I hope you all are paying attention to what this has meant in sports here. Because what it shows me is that I've kind of always known the regular season doesn't mean a lot. It means a ton, but it doesn't mean a ton right now. Ask the Winnipeg Jets. Ask the Colorado Avalanche, who won the President's Trophy. I saw it 2 years ago with the Florida Panthers firsthand. From Valentine's Day on, they took their foot off the gas. They were comfortably in a playoff spot. They did just enough to get in. And then, boom, took off in the playoffs. And this is what Vegas is doing. They are, look, I'll say it again. I know it looks like we're in Vegas at some golden place, but I'm broadcasting from Canada and a great hockey town, Moose Jaw, where they're talking hockey morning, noon, and night, and I love it so much. And they're all trying to figure out what Vegas has done, save for making a coaching change. But everything's come together at the right time is the point. The regular season is for lesson learning, putting in the ingredients, stirring it, and voila, that's what the playoffs are for. That's why when coaches say, and they do all the time, we're not going to go 82-0. We're not going to go 17-0 in the NFL. That's just not going to happen. You're going to have some detours along the way and some blockades, and that's what the regular season is for. Vegas figured them all out, and now they're steamrolling everybody. I got myself talked into thinking that they're going to win tonight. But no, I think Carolina is too good of a team. I think Carolina wins tonight. But what I do know is hockey night means pizza night. That means the Mad Greek Eatery. From classic to loaded, pizza night starts at the Mad Greek Eatery. Order online, pick up, or dine in. The MadGreekEatery.com. Check them out. Longtime sponsors of the RP show. Probably going to mix some Greek ribs in there, too. Who do you think is going to win tonight? I think Carolina, because I think this is going to be a long series. If Vegas is going to win it in 6, which was my pre-series prediction, then they would probably have to lose 2 along the way. I think it'll be tonight. Captain Lou joining us next from the 12-Ounce Sports Network in Michigan. I'm not interested in. I appreciate you all with the comments about the Carter Hart thing, but we talked about that enough yesterday and overall. Let me get, not that we were off track here, but point one is the Stanley Cup playoffs. Why not? We're in Vegas. We'll get into it more with Captain Lou next. Point two, the New York Knicks win streak lives on, and they struck first in the NBA Finals. Jalen Brunson scored 30 points. Karl Anthony Towns finished with 18 points and 12 rebounds, and the Knicks erased a 14-point second half deficit to beat the San Antonio Spurs 105-95 in Game 1 of the Finals Wednesday night. That is actually the poll question today. For our friends at Country Thunder, the biggest party of the summer is coming to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson, Creed, and the RP Show. Are you following the NBA Finals? Stick with me here. Like Jason, you said you went to the restaurant I used to own last night to try the sweet chili pizza that I said. I didn't say sweet chili. I said spicy Thai. Nowhere did I say sweet chili. The question is, are you following the NBA Finals? For me, it's a yes, dog. I banged yes. I'm following it. And as a matter of fact, last night I probably watched about 10 minutes. To the degree that I know this. The Knicks raced out to a big lead at the start. Then the Spurs came back, and they had the lead. It was actually a pretty good game. I was flipping around during the pregame. There was a lot of things. I'm a big, really big Dateline buff. So if it's on, I'm stopping everything. And if Keith Morrison's hosting it, it's over. I'm not watching anything else. It happened to be Josh Mankiewicz on this particular one. So as soon as they went to a commercial, I went, and I'm flipping around. We're good with the Country Thunder, but thank you, producer Corey. And the pregame show was on for Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Thank you. And who's on? Shaq, Chuck, Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith. Drop the remote. We're good. And I watched the pregame. I watched into the first quarter, and it was a hell of a start. So I'm not only am I following it, but I'm watching it, and that's the point, because when I was on the radio in Amarillo, Texas the other day with Kenny Nagunst, who says that I'm getting all of Toronto and Canadians hating him because he was bashing the Blue Jays, I said, you said it, not me, Kenny. Don't come at me. But the host, Slim Shotgun, pretty sure that was his name, says, are you following the NBA Finals? I'm like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I am. As it turns out, I have a lot of friends that are Knicks fans. I didn't know they were fans until the Knicks got good. All of a sudden, they're big Knicks fans, and they're annoying. And so following, I know who's winning, up 1 game or to none, or that this Knicks won the first game last night is my point. I watched a little bit of it, so it's a yes from me. And I was on the phone this morning with my advisor, Lisa from South Florida. She said, oh, so the Knicks won. I'm like, how do you know? You don't even like sports. And she's like, well, I'm from New York, and it's all over my phone. So welcome to the Sports in America. Knicks are up 1 game to none. That's about as far as I'm willing to go on that. 902-518-3333. I'll be watching Stanley Cup Playoffs Game 2 tonight with my Mad Greek Pizza. and a little bit of Canadian Football League action, or maybe a lot. I'm not sure. It will depend how the hockey game goes. Thank you for the update, viewer Jason, on the poll, because I don't have it readily at my fingertips. 79%. 79%. You'll see why I'm laughing in a sec. Saying no, they're not following the NBA Finals, and that's why we don't talk about it here. I'm laughing because Ken in Mississauga writes, and he goes, can you do a Keith impression? Of course I can. He's from here. He's from Lloydminster. Keith Morrison. It was a quiet night on the Canadian Prairie. Or was it? I'm laughing because I just say it the way it is. One of my former wives, we used to sit on the couch and do Keith Morrison impressions for hours. He was a quiet, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. Or was he? Yeah, but we love Keith Morrison. He's an icon. From Lloydminster, Sask. Well, they try to say in Brandon he's from Brandon. He's one of those guys. He's like Nathan Rourke. Is he from Oakville or is he from Victoria? A couple places lay claim to him, but we say he's from Sask. Keith Morrison. He was a quiet man. Kept to himself. Or did he? He's an icon, man. Brent from the Bridge said, he writes and he says, I love Keith. Everybody loves Keith. Yes, it's 1:11 Eastern. Carlos, thank you for observing. Let it be. There was a day in downtown Regina. Keith Morrison was walking down Rose Street. We saw him out the window. We're like, that guy looks like Keith Moore. Wait, it is Keith Moore. He was there doing a story on some cold story, cold case file. So again, when Keith Morrison is hosting a Dateline, it's drop the remote. We're done. Settle in. We're not changing the channel here when Keith Morrison is. Anyways, where was I? I'm still figuring out this new laptop. 902-518-3033. Oh, point 3, I said I'll be watching Stanley Cup tonight on CFL football. It is the kickoff to the 2026 season. The Montreal Alouettes at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We've been given a crap load of coverage to it all of hour one. Our social media channels, we said we'd be doing a lot of CFL coverage this year. We won't be doing it here on the Silver State Sports Network. Just a little smidge, other than to say that it's kicking off tonight. Point 4. Mauricio Dubon hit a go-ahead 3-run home run in the third inning, and the Atlanta Braves beat the Toronto Blue Jays 7-3 Wednesday night to continue their mastery of left-hander Patrick Corbin. A homer by Nathan Lukes off Grant Holmes in the third inning gave Toronto a 2-1 lead. The Braves answered off Corbin in the bottom of the inning. With 2 outs, Matt Olson singled to move to third on Ozzie Albies' double. Dubon's homer in the Braves bullpen behind the center field wall gave Atlanta a 4-2 lead, and they went on to win 4-3 over the Toronto Blue Jays. MLB tonight, Jays at Atlanta again. It's a night game. The A's are at the Cubs. I kind of feel a little odd saying my Marlins, but they are now, I guess, where I live. They're off tonight, the Marlins. Interesting point that I wanted to get to in hour one, but we called it our CFL preview, and that's what it was. I didn't talk about anything really much other than Canadian football, but this, point 5, this just came up on my news feed as I was preparing for the show today. Flag football makes its Olympic debut in 2028, and Canadian university sport has stepped up its role in producing players for the national women's team. U Sports and Football Canada. U Sports is Canada's version of the NCAA. U Sports and Football Canada are collaborating on the introduction of women's flag football as a pilot sport for the 27-28 season. The governing body for Canadian university sport made the announcement Wednesday at its annual general meeting in St. John's. I'll only say this because it's just fun, and that's part of what makes our show so different. We were in Charlotte, North Carolina. Moose, who was on the show with me yesterday, in 2023, broadcasting the national championships of USA Football's flag division. And listen, you've been watching this show by now. I don't care what people think. We're sitting there at the USA High Performance Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, broadcasting to a full stadium, USA versus Mexico in a full stadium on the Olympic Network, plus 30,000 people watching on YouTube. It's a big deal. And I had to deal with all the people that come from my past life going, oh, yeah, good luck with the flag. Oh, yeah, get back to us when it's real football. Oh, well, at that time, it wasn't an Olympic sport. Now it is. Now, fast forward, Tyreek Hill, I want to play. Tom Brady, I want to play. My buddies are coaching the national teams, and all of a sudden it's a real big deal. It never bothered me that the people were trashing flag football at the time. And now it's the hottest thing. The NFL's got a league. We're going to have a team in South Florida. I'm going to be involved in that. It's just waiting for everybody to catch up. It can be lonely at times. It can be lonely, but that's okay. It's lonely being ahead of the pack. Lou Gamelin always is. He joins us next here on Silver State Sports.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision. A big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
RP Show continues. Are you looking for the hottest fan gear? Swing by Ultimate Fan Zone or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca where real fans get their gear. That's where I got mine. Walked in and was just looking at me. Lou Gamelin strikes me like a guy that's got a closet full of fan gear. Would I be right, Lou Gamelin from the Captain Lou Extravaganza?
Well, you would be right, Rod. I'll tell you what, it's growing every month. It seems like I see a jersey out there. That's my weakness. I love picking up jerseys. I just got a Patrick Kane one for a Detroit Red Wings Winter Classic Patrick Kane. But yeah, it's a weakness of mine, but it's a good weakness to have.
Tell your wife it could be way, way, way worse. I'm sure you probably have already said that, Lou. Okay, listen, I got so much to get to with you, and the viewers know the number to reach us is 902-518-3033, Western Dodge text line. But I see that you've been really into the Stanley Cup playoffs, even though your Wings haven't been in them, and they haven't been in them for a long time, but you're still enjoying the hockey. What are your thoughts going into Game 2 tonight, Vegas at Carolina?
Well, I kind of agree with you. I think I'm going to pick Carolina to win tonight. I think they're obviously in a much-win situation, but I loved game one. How do you not like it? And I've gone back and forth on this. I just love the game set, the game plan for Vegas, Rod. And game one, they both came out nervous. I think the lights and everything, the pomp and circumstance of it kind of got both teams a little bit, but how can you not love what Vegas was able to do? And when you saw John Tortorella, when they got down 2-0, that speech he gave them on the bench, man, that brought chills to me. And I'm not a huge Tortorella fan. His cockiness at times rubs me the wrong way, but all the guy does is win. And that team did not look rattled, and I really loved that out of Vegas.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because their general manager, Kelly McCrimmon, he's like today's Glenn Sather and Slats. He liked guys like that. They're confident. They're confident. And it's funny you say about the Vegas team. I'm sitting here going, they kind of struggled all year. And right, they made the coaching change. Carter Hart got healthy mentally and physically, and I think emotionally. But when they came through Sunrise in late October, I was like, this is a damn good team at that time. Like the Jack Eichels and obviously Marner. It's always been a really good team. I think people forgot that during the regular season, and they're just now really showing it. That's just a really good team, Lou.
Well, it's funny. I was listening to Bruce Boudreau this morning on the NHL Network, and he brought up a great point. He said, how often are you going to see a team respond like this when they get a coaching change with 9 games to go in the regular season? But he saw a team, and I think you'll agree, a Vegas team, in February and March that was a little bit back on their heels, and they weren't responding. And Torts came in, and he realized the talent there, and he realized that he didn't have to, chew their butts or whatever. He just had to remind them of how good they were. And he instilled that positive energy, which you don't normally hear from a guy like Torts. All you see is when it's on ESPN or whatever, when he's screaming at somebody or tearing somebody down. He told them how positive and how good they are. And boy, oh boy, did he light a switch. And I love that again out of him.
The best coaches, and you've been around this a long time, know the temperature. Listen, if they were fat and cocky and thought they were great, he'd be in there kicking their ass. And I think that's what Bruce Cassidy was doing, but it got to be too much. But that's what the best coaches do. They know how to take the temperature. Not every coach knows that, so we've covered that. You think Carolina will win tonight? I think Carolina will win tonight. I'm dying to ask you this. You are whether you like it or not, my Red Wings guy. And because I'm sitting here in a hockey town, people ask me about the Wings all the time. And I'm like, don't ask me. I'm not watching them every day in and out like my guy Lou. Like, when are they going to get it together, Lou?
Boy, the time's running out, isn't it? I'll tell you, they're circling the wagons. The vultures are starting to circle up above. The time has got to be now. I mean, I talked to a couple of guys that are there on a daily basis, and they agree. Both of them agree that they've got to get more firepower 5-on-5. And I loved your point when you were on my show when we were doing the preview. They're older than a lot of people think. If you really take an objective look at it,
they're really old.
They've got to get younger and more talented. Obviously, in a 5-on-5, they've got to get another shot. They've got to get stronger in the bottom 6. And And always, as always, Rod, the big question is goaltending. I know they've got Gibson, but what are they going to do with Kosa? Are they going to use him as a trade chip? Are they, they've got Augustine and the younger Pravada, I believe his name was, that really came to the forefront in the AHL playoffs. Those are the two big questions, but the time is now. They've got to. They've built through the draft, but now that the time is now. And I go back to the Vegas team, and I love what they've been able to do for 9 years. They just restock. They don't just rely on the draft. They've been money picking up players via the trade or free agency, and it obviously hasn't gelled like that in Detroit under Yzerman.
Yeah, for sure. I heard that Costa's contract is up and they're not even going to re-sign him. But I will lastly say this. Somebody said to me the other day, and I think I was on I can't remember where. I just love Canada because we're just talking hockey all the time, right? It's awesome.
Yeah.
And somebody said the long-suffering, perennial losing Detroit Red Wings. I'm like, whoa. They've won 4 Stanley Cups going back to 95, man. This is not a perennially losing team. But I will say this.
No.
I feel like the culture's bad, though, because their very last game of the year was an 8-0 loss in Florida, and I was there. And the young man I was sitting beside, he was the broadcaster for the Florida Everglades. They had a night off. And he turns to me, Adam Plager's his name, and he goes, "They've quit. Detroit's quit." I'm like, yes, they did. And I'm shocked that Todd McClellan survived it because I've never seen a more pathetic display of a team quitting than that night in Sunrise. That was not a good way to end the year.
No, it wasn't. I watched that game too, and I was dumbfounded in front of the television set watching it, Rod. And you mentioned McClellan. I thought he was going to burst a blood vessel. I thought that was the best job he ever did, not exploding in a press conference. You knew he wanted to, but he couldn't. And I've never seen anything like it. I've seen teams go through the motions, but they got eliminated earlier in the week against Tampa in that last week of the regular season. And they went into Florida, and you and I have talked about it. That's the difference in mindsets. Florida is a championship quality team. Detroit isn't, but also Florida's got that mindset. And right now, Detroit's got to find a way to get it. They've got to learn how to win. And that's kind of embarrassing, but when you lose that mojo, it's very difficult to get back. It's so easy to stay down, and it's a lot tougher to get that winning mojo back.
Very, very, very hard. I don't know where the question is here. Oh, we've had a lot of comments come in today. It was regarding the Olympics. It was from Utah Darren. That's totally off the board. You're going to be shocked. You didn't expect that I would ask you about the Olympics here today. But it came up the other day when I was on the radio in Amarillo. They're like, "Rod, are you getting excited for the Olympics?" I'm like, oddly, yes. I'm shocked you're asking because I said I'm a flag football guy and was part of that, and it's going to be in the 2028. It was Utah Darren. He wrote in. He goes, here it is. He says, the Olympics are getting so big, what city can afford to host them? Well, we don't need to worry about that. It's going to be in L.A., and they'll be just fine in summer 2028. Is it because it's in the U.S. that we're starting to hear about it 2 summers out, or why are people talking about it in my world?
Boy, I don't know. That's a great question. I haven't really given 2 thoughts about it.
Okay, then you're not. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm still thinking about the Winter Olympics with the ice hockey, with the hockey finals, men and women. No, that's something I'll probably start to really think more about next year when we're about a year out, but I really haven't thought about it. I'll be honest.
That's fine. There's no wrong answer to it. I just wanted to lob it to you as, why are people bringing this up to me, and why am I actually saying yes? I don't get. Our poll question today is for Country Thunder. Biggest party this summer coming to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9 to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson, Creed, and the RP Show. Are you into the NBA Finals? 79% of our respondents are saying no, so we're not talking about it a lot, but what are you voting?
I voted no. I've lost a lot of interest in the NBA. I watch it. First and foremost, I got a little bit more into it because my son is a huge NBA fan. And of course, here in Detroit, the Pistons played very well, until the Cleveland series when, they lost Game 7. But to be honest with you, I'm more into the Stanley Cup. That's where I'm really putting all of my effort and my television watching in, is the Stanley Cup. And, I'm watching more Major League Baseball, and, that's where I'm headed. That's what I watch right now this time of year.
Well, it's interesting because one of our viewers, he's probably watching right now, Robin Windthorst wrote in and he said his kid's into the NBA Finals because the highlights are all over YouTube and his kid's on the YouTube. So he's into the NBA. I'm like, we can't all be into everything. You know, I was on a podcast the other day and the guy was asking me about the CFL and my thoughts on that. I've been trying to break that. You brought me on your show and asked me about the CFL. It was a few years ago. I'm like, I'm not into that, but I keep getting sucked back. It's like the mafia. You never ever get out of it. And tonight is the kickoff, Montreal and Hamilton, and I can't really help myself. But the guy on the podcast said, "Oh, my son's 33. He doesn't follow the CFL." I don't care what your kid's into. I loved it, and I guess I'm back into it. It's an interesting time in sports, Lou, with the streaming and all the rest. Like, I'm guessing you're paying to watch Tigers baseball extra. Yeah. How do you feel about where we're at?
I don't like it, and I'll tell you why. Because you can't channel flip, right? If you're watching it on a pay service on ESPN Plus or whatever it is, then you've got Prime Video, Netflix, Apple TV Plus, whatever it is. Guys like me, you like to channel flip between games, and you can't do that. And when you got playoff games for the NBA that were on Prime Video, that's another reason why I couldn't get into it. I'm not going to when it's difficult for me to watch a game, I'm less likely to watch it unless it's a sport or a team that I absolutely love. And the sport obviously is the NHL and hockey and football. Those are my two favorites. And, I'll watch the Tigers when they're on basic cable, but it's starting to, very soon here, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where it's going, and we're in a good position here because we're streaming on YouTube every day. Our podcast downloads are good, but we're also on television in Vegas, and I think we're coming back in Canada. We were off for the month. I don't know. We've got it all, and we're not charging because I don't know where it's going. And to be honest, some of the people running the show, I'm wondering, do you guys really know? You say you know, but it doesn't look like you know. So I'm totally with you. Hockey and football is where it's at, and that's a very good segue here. Because in Vegas, as much as the Golden Knights are going crazy, the Raiders are still not far from people's hearts. And we're still a long ways from training camps opening up. This is the deadest time, as you know, in the NFL season. But what's the biggest, other than the big trades this week, what's the biggest stories going into 2026 in the NFL?
Well, I mean, there's so many question marks, so many things to look at. You talked about the trade. How's that going to affect New England? They went to the Super Bowl last year, right? Was that just a one-off? Are they going to be contenders? To me, the Rams are the team to watch out for. They're loaded right now, and they're even talking about Aaron Donald maybe coming out of retirement to play, and that would be amazing. I'm excited to see how that tracks. Obviously, here in Michigan, the Lions, they're going through OTAs this week. They lost one of their draft picks already. He blew out his ACL yesterday, Kendrick Law. So that's a question mark. The honeymoon, I don't know if it's over in Detroit with Brad Holmes. This is a very interesting year for them. They've got a very easy schedule. So the odds makers have them winning the division, yet they've got Green Bay with a better chance to go to the Super Bowl. And it's almost like they've forgotten about the Bears. They've got them picked third. A lot of the odd makers in the NFC North, and they, with Caleb Williams, it's, and then you've got your Cowboys. They look like they could take a step. They're loaded on offense again. I mean, so many different storylines, and it's so much fun to keep an eye on. But you mentioned it, the NFL never goes away, right? Now it's a 12-month-a-year thing. There are always some headlines. Making this trade, or the June 1st deadline where salaries don't count as much against the cap. If you get cut, they make trades. It's ongoing.
It is a lot of fun. Brent from the Bridge City writes, then he goes, my Detroit Lions. He puts a blue heart. I'll tell you this. I told you I'm roaming around a hockey city here in Canada, but I've seen a ton of Cowboys fans, and I haven't really been wearing Cowboys. I feel like going up and giving them a hug. I'm like, what? And nobody is more bereaved than Lions fans. Trust me, I get it. But I just kind of sit back and go with the Cowboys. I'm like, why are you cheering for this team? I'm 1 foot out the door only because of the owner and the general manager. I'm 1 foot out the door. It's just weird. I feel like, because I consider you in the media world. we as the media people see it differently as fans. We're not fans on the air. And God bless those that wave their flag and cheer no matter what, but I'm like, I want to win. And when I see the owner dick around a guy like Micah Parsons, I get pissed off. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree. And I love that point you just made about not being a fan when you're in the media. It really makes me appreciate what Vegas has done back to the NHL, Rod. 9 years, 3 Stanley Cups. They've done it the right way. They haven't broken any rules. Do the fans sometimes get a little bit entitled there because they haven't experienced losing? Maybe so. But they're the benchmark. I said that yesterday. They're the benchmark right now for success in not only the NHL, but in all the sports. They go out, they're proactive. They're not playing for the future. They're not making stupid deals. I hate to say about your Cowboys. I'm beginning to wonder, and how they treat their stars. It's just, I love that with Vegas. And as far as the Lions go, I mean, they're still in rarefied air, being what people say teams want or players want to go there. It never used to be that with such a half-assed organization the last 55 years.
Well, it's funny because I remember Kelly McCrimmon when they did not bring back Jonathan Marchessault, a fan favorite in Vegas.
Yeah.
And one of the misfits, and he stood before the media. And I felt like the media was grilling him on, how do you not bring back Jonathan Marchessault? He was an original. And Kelly's like, it's not personal. Because even Marchessault was upset about it. And it's just, I get it. If you're winning and you're playing well and your salary fits, you can stay. But if you want to sign for more money elsewhere, bye-bye. And that's also the other thing with the coaches. Listen, I've followed this Vegas thing very closely from day one. Bruce Cassidy won a Stanley Cup, but it wasn't working. It's not what you did yesterday. It's what are you doing today? And Marc-Andre Fleury, in the conference final in 2021 against Montreal, when he came out to misplay the puck, misplayed it, ended up on their net and cost him a game. I'm like, oh, he's done. He's done. Yeah. And it's because you can't, in Vegas, it's definitely like it's a tight wire to walk, Lou.
Oh,
do your job,
it is.
And you'll be fine. If you can't do that, you won't be around.
No, nothing wrong with that, man. They're winning. They're producing. That's what I love about it.
Well, I kind of feel like Kelly feels the need to explain why he's making these moves when I watch these news conferences, and I can tell he's getting upset. I mean, I've known him a very long time. It's like he shouldn't have to. We're in the Stanley Cup. Trust me. You know what I mean? It's just the way that it is.
Well, I agree. And it's like this thing with Bruce Cassidy supposedly not letting him talk to Edmonton. He's not doing anything wrong. Everybody's got their underwear up in a bunch because nobody's ever done it before. And you know what? Why not? Why let him talk to somebody in your own division?
When you're paying him for the upcoming year. I don't understand what they don't get. That's kind of, yeah. I'm going to get worked up. I'm going to have to go do it in the break because it's, again, well, there's the media, there's the fans, and then the media is kind of sequestered, split, because there's the people in the media that really have no idea how sports work. And that we've just hit on is the thing that drives me the biggest crazy. Anyways, we got to run. Lou, thanks for this. Let's do it again soon. Enjoy the game tonight.
Right on. Thanks, Rod.
The great Lou Gamelin from the Captain Lou Extravaganza 12-ounce Sports Set Network in Michigan. We'll be right back here on Silver State Sports.
For a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth a team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center.
Now.
The Gene Simmons Band performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Sask Tigs.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show. Dang, nabbit. Every time I chat with Lou, I love it. I do. I learned something. And it was interesting what he said about the channel surfing. You can't channel surf when you're streaming. And he's right. I mean, I kind of do, but I'm a cable TV guy. For those that are watching us on TV right now in Silver State Sports, I still have my cable. And as I was saying earlier in the program, I was channel surfing last night and the Dateline was on. So stop. Who's hosting? Keith Morrison? Okay. I'm in. Pick it back up when it's over. And channel surfing, NBA pregame on. Shaq, Chuck, Kenny, Ernie. Done. Sitting here. Watch the whole pregame. So I'm still a cable TV guy, and I feel like when all is said and done, cable TV will make a comeback. I don't know. The TV people say, no. TV is going to be dead. You've been saying that for 20 years. Brent in Saskatoon. Well, hang on. Scott in Vancouver says, classic signed Barry Sanders jersey up there on the top right. Yeah, Lou, clearly a jersey guy, as you knew, a sweater guy. Yeah, you're right, Brent from Saskatoon. Barry Sanders was great. GOAT! From the text line 902-518-3033, Bob writes in. He says, G'day, Rod. It's Bob from Med Hat watching your show thoroughly. Enjoy it. You have a great day, buddy. You too, Bob, and thank you for the very nice comments you left yesterday on the post acknowledging my former radio station, acknowledging my service there. 24 years there out of their 100-year birthday as an icon of that. Somebody wrote in and said, it makes you sound old, Rod. I am old, and I'm not afraid to admit it, and I'm glad to still be drawing a breath. Everybody should be. Sports update. Apparently there's other sports going on. The most chaotic Grand Slam in recent memory delivered yet again is number 25, Diana Schneider, stunned at number 1, Arina Sabalenka, snapping her streak of 6 straight major semifinals. On the men's side, number 10, Flavio Coballi and Matteo Arnaldi also advanced, joining number 2, Alexander Zervayev, and number 2, Jakub Mensik in the Final Four. Softball. The Texas Longhorns rode a 5-run first inning to a series opening victory, putting them 1 win away from a second consecutive Women's College World Series title. Tegan Kevin, last year's tournament MOP, pitched a complete Game 3 hitter. I'm kind of sitting back here because you've watched this show enough now to realize how I do. I'm sitting back just surveying things. And the women's sports is really taking a step up. These college World Series of college softball are drawing huge ratings. We all know about what the WNBA is doing. The Pro Women's Hockey League is popping up franchises all over the place and selling out arenas. And I'm just like, what changed? Because those of us of a certain vintage remember there was WTSN, Women's TSN in Canada. ESPN had a women's channel, and they didn't last. Why are they watching it now, but they weren't then? The one thing I will say is the quality of play has jumped up. But I didn't think that mattered. I really didn't think that mattered. You can lacquer a turd, as they say. I'm not saying women's sports is, but if you tell people to watch it, they'll watch. Is that what it is? Marketing? Is it marketing? Maybe it's usually what it is, a combination of everything. The quality of play is better, great marketing. I don't know, but I like it. But I'm still sticking to my hockey and football, obviously. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver confirmed on Wednesday that a 16-team league is on track to launch in Europe next year, with 12 permanent franchises and 4 rotating spots filled by existing clubs across the continent via promotion and relegation. And Bears quarterback Caleb Williams will grace the cover of Madden 27 when it comes out in August. Oregon quarterback Dante Moore, Miami wide receiver Malachi Toney, and Ole Miss running back Kuen Lacey will grace the cover of College Football 27. That's coming out in July. The sports update is for our friends at Ultimate Fan Zone. Rough Riders, Blue Jays, NFL, NHL, you name it, they've got it. If they don't have it, you don't need it. Rep your team loud and proud with Ultimate Fan Zone. Shop now at ultimatefanzone.ca. One more segment to go, coming back with overtime. One more chance for you to get your questions and comments in on the text line 902-518-3033. And we'll be back in a flash. It's the RP Show here on Silver State Sports and streaming.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Welcome back for Overtime. For our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes, I love how you answer the bell. I said last call for comments, and like a machine gun, they've all come in, people just waiting. Some of the U.S. viewers, some of the Canadian viewers. I was called this on the radio in Amarillo the other day. Rod is bi-countryal. Is that even a word? He lives in both. I'll take it. I've been called far worse. I will say this, though. John writes in from the City of Champions. Where is it? Breaking! The U.S. and Russian men's national teams will face off in Moscow on July 1st. What sport? You forgot to say that. Leave the breaking news to me. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where skill and fun collide. An amusement park for hockey players. The countdown is on as to when I'll be there this summer. I will swear on my mother's grave that I'll be there. I don't know when. One day at a time. It's kind of a moving target this summer, but that's okay. That's okay. Otherwise, it would be boring. Life. From the text line, 902-518-3030. Worlds are colliding, Jerry. Vintage Sasko writes in, formerly known as Fake Gainer. And he says, hey, Uncle Rod, off topic, but tip of the hat to your CKRM interview. Again, that's my old radio station that I left 7 years ago. They did an interview that's been posted to YouTube. Everybody's watching it. And thank you, Vintage Sasko. He says, the emotion you spoke about, John Frenzy, gave me the feels, and I'm usually heartless. Cheers and blessings. Well, for those that don't know, there was an old, he won't mind me saying, an old radio guy. He's like the Lee Corso of Saskatchewan football broadcasting. For the others across Canada, the Don Cherry of football, we used to call him that. Just an old icon. And when I was hired to broadcast pro football, I didn't know anything about pro football. I was a hockey guy and a baseball guy at the time. I didn't know football. So I brought in John Frenzy, this iconic broadcaster, and to use his terms, I rescued him from the scrap heap back in 1999. Just a beauty. Him and my dad graduated high school together, 1955, Luther College. And anyways, at his funeral, when he passed, I was asked to speak. And his family said to me at that time, in a tiny little Christ the King church, now I'm getting the feels. they said, you really made John a star. And I said, I didn't do a thing. John was a star long before I brought him on the radio. And that's the truth. So thank you, Vintage Sask. That interview, I don't know, it's, as I said in the interview, it's a lot of things that coming up that I have not thought about or talked about for a real long time. So it was nice to go down memory lane, but I'm a looking forward guy, not a looking back guy. So it's been a good week. Been a really good week. Thank you, Jason. Writes in and says, man, what a show. 2 great guests and great sports chatter. Go Knights. Yes, it's nighttime. Almost, anyways. I'm not ashamed to admit that I didn't watch Game 1 because I was working. That's the other thing that I've learned in all these years. It's not that hard to figure out, I don't think. Go where you're being paid. So I was broadcasting baseball the other night, NCAA baseball, while Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final was being played. I didn't see a shift of it. And I was thinking about going back. I didn't even need to watch the highlights. Vegas won. What more do you need to know? But I'll be watching every shift tonight, picking up my pizza from Mad Greek. Are you hungry late? The Mad Greek Eatery is open till 11 p.m. for dine-in, pickup, or order online. MadGreekEatery.com. I'll have my pizza. I'll be watching a little CFL football. Yes, Jeff the Stamps fan, I will. Carlos in Indianapolis says, bring on Football Friday. Just so you know, I think I'm going to do all of Hour 1 alone tomorrow. For the Nevada viewers, we do that on YouTube and WQVZ Radio. I think I'm going to go solo in Hour 1, so bring your A game, everybody. Kevin the Medium's still gone. He's in Japan, and we're hoping that he makes it home safely. I've told him not to. I said, look up Harry Carey. Look it up. Don't do that. He was struggling on the flight to Japan, Kevin the Medium. So I said, look up Harry Carey and then don't do it. And he said he left his sword at home. I said, that's probably a pretty good idea. Brent in the Bridge City writes, and he says, God bless you, Rod and John Frenzy. Wonderful show again today. Wishing you the best today and every day. Same to you, Brent. You're such a great guy. Appreciate you. We try to bring the positivity to the air every day, and it's going well. You know, I didn't even get to all of these interesting stats. I will also say this. I mean, on the air in Nevada, they love football down there. Can I interest you in the CFL? It's the 81st season officially of the Canadian Football League since the east and the west sides of the country morphed in 1945. That's the way John Frenzy would say it. I went through all the game notes. 83% of the rosters are veterans this season. In 2025 last year, the home team swept the entirety of Week 1. There were 6 1,000-yard rushers in 2025. The penalties were the lowest last season, and they've been since 1974. The oldest stadium, and also the dumpiest, is your McMahon Stadium in Calgary, Jeff the Stamps fan, opened in 1960. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are 24-14-1 under Corey May since he took over. Yeah, I read them all. I had them all ready to go, but Murph was with us. Press play. Also, when we talked about the Nevada Wolfpack yesterday and Cody Fajardo, the star quarterback out of Reno, now quarterback in Edmonton, I tagged him on everything. Thank you, Silver State Sports. They shared it all on their feeds, but Cody didn't. I'm like, yeah, my Cody. My Cody's in a social media cleanse. Not only did he not share it, he didn't even see it. That tells Cody's dialed in. Watch out for those Edmonton Elkamos at Ottawa. Should be fun tomorrow. Mike Davis will be with us. We'll be talking ball on a Football Friday. Till then, be good to each other, but mostly be good to yourself, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good.